When you think of legendary military leaders, names like Napoleon or Alexander the Great might come to mind. But there's one British commander who deserves a spot right up there with the best. John Churchill, the Duke of Marlborough. I don't think people realise just how legendary the Duke of Marlborough was, or how he managed to carve out a reputation as Britain's undefeated champion. Imagine a general who never tasted defeat. No embarrassing retreats, no desperate do-overs, no maybe next time. Every battle he fought, he won. That's not just luck, that's pure genius, strategy and nerves of steel. Let's rewind to the beginning. Born in 1650, John Churchill didn't start out as a noble or a war hero. He began his journey as a humble page boy in the royal court. Think of it as the 17th century version of an unpaid internship, except with more lace, powdered wigs, and a lot less coffee. He was just a kid from a modest family learning the ropes in the shadowy corridors of power. But Churchill was sharp. He watched, he listened, and he learned. He made friends in high places and earned the trust of powerful patrons. By the time he was a young man, he'd already proven himself as a skilled diplomat and a quick thinker, qualities that would serve him well on the battlefield. Fast forward a few years and Churchill is no longer the kid fetching drinks at court. He's now leading armies, outsmarting France's best generals and basically inventing the military plot twist before Hollywood even existed. His strategies were so unpredictable that his enemies never knew what hit them. His big break came at the Battle of Blenheim in 1704, a turning point not just for Churchill, but for all of Europe. The stakes were sky high. If the French won, they'd dominate the continent. If Churchill won, he'd change the course of history. Outnumbered, outgunned, and facing a force that seemed impossible to beat, Churchill didn't flinch. He studied the enemy, spotted their weaknesses, and came up with a plan so daring that even his own officers were skeptical. Churchill pulled off a masterstroke. He faked a retreat, luring the French into a trap. Then, with perfect timing, he unleashed his troops in a surprise attack. The result? Total chaos for the enemy. The French lines collapsed, and Churchill's victory was so decisive that the map of Europe had to be redrawn. Suddenly, everyone knew his name. But behind the glory and the parades, there was a price to pay. War is never just about battles. It's about politics, alliances, and sometimes heartbreak. Churchill's rise to fame wasn't without its share of drama. His wife, Sarah Churchill, was more than just a partner. She was his confidant, his advisor, and for a time, the best friend of Queen Anne herself. Together, they were a power couple at the heart of the British court. But even the closest friendships can turn sour. And when Sarah and Queen Anne had their royal falling out, it sent shockwaves through the palace. The fallout was brutal. Churchill found himself banned from court, cut off from the centre of power. But here's the thing, he never lost his edge. Even in exile, his military record remained spotless. He walked away unbeaten, his reputation as a battlefield genius intact. Talk about leaving on a high note. Most people fade away after a scandal, but Churchill's legend only grew. He became a symbol of British resilience and tactical brilliance, and his legacy, just a little place called Blenheim Palace, a gift from a grateful nation, and now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a monument to his victories, his ambition, and his place in history. And here's a fun fact. Winston Churchill, the legendary Prime Minister who led Britain through World War II, was John Churchill's descendant. Winston grew up hearing stories of his ancestors' exploits, and idolized the Duke's courage and cunning. The Churchill family resume is basically a highlight reel of British history. From battlefield victories to political intrigue, they've seen it all. Name a better family resume. I'll wait. Of course, not everyone loved the Duke. Some called him a traitor, others accused him of playing both sides. But the truth? He was a political ninja, always one step ahead, always ready with a clever move. And yes, in case you're wondering, the name Churchill literally means Church Hill. Not exactly the most intimidating name for a general, but hey, it clearly didn't hold him back. So, if you had to pick someone to lead your army into battle, would you choose the Duke of Marlborough? With his record, his brains, and his unbreakable spirit, he's the kind of general you'd want charging at the front. Drop a Duke in the comments if you agree. And don't forget to subscribe for more epic tales from history's greatest legends. Until next time, see you on the battlefield, where legends like Marlborough are made.